the Paradise Unicorn Priestess, bringing you day 53 of A Course in Miracles, the Yin translation, where we use female words. This is February 22nd, if you're starting at the new year. Healing and the changelessness of mind. The body is nothing more than a framework for developing abilities, which is quite apart from what they are used for. That is a decision. The effects of the ego's decision in this matter are so apparent that they need no elaboration. But the Holy Spirit's decision to use the body only for communication has such a direct connection with healing that it does need clarification. The unhealed healer obviously does not understand her own vocation. Only minds communicate. Since the ego cannot obliterate the impulse to communicate, because it is also the impulse to create, it can only teach you that the body can both communicate and create, and therefore does not need the mind. The ego thus tries to teach you that the body can act like the mind, and is therefore self-sufficient. Yet, we have learned that behavior is not the level for either teaching or learning, since you can act in accordance with what you do not believe. To do this, however, will weaken you as a teacher and a learner, because, as has been repeatedly emphasized, you teach what you do believe. An inconsistent lesson will be poorly taught and poorly learned. If you teach both sickness and healing, you are both a poor teacher and a poor learner. Healing is the one ability everyone can develop and must develop if she is to be healed. Healing is the Holy Spirit's form of communication in this world, and the only one she accepts. She recognizes no other, because she does not accept the ego's confusion of mind and body. Minds can communicate, but they cannot hurt. The body in the service of the ego can hurt other bodies, but this cannot occur unless the body has already been confused with the mind. This situation too can be used either for healing or for magic, but you must remember that magic always involves the belief that healing is harmful. This belief is its totally insane premise, and so it proceeds accordingly. Healing only strengthens. Magic always tries to weaken. Healing perceives nothing in the healer that everyone else does not share with her. Magic always sees something special in the healer, which she believes she can offer as a gift to someone who does not have it. She may believe that the gift comes from God to her, but it is quite evident that she does not understand God if she thinks she has something that others lack. The Holy Spirit does not work by chance, and healing that is of her always works. Unless the healer always heals by her, the results will vary. Yet healing itself is consistent, since only consistency is conflict-free, and only the conflict-free are whole. By accepting exceptions and acknowledging that she can sometimes heal and sometimes not, the healer is obviously accepting inconsistency. She is therefore in conflict and is teaching conflict. Can anything of God not be for all and for always? Love is incapable of any exceptions. Only if there is fear does the idea of exceptions seem to be meaningful. Exceptions are fearful because they are made by fear. The fearful healer is a contradiction in terms, and is therefore a concept that only a conflicted mind could possibly perceive as meaningful. Fear does not gladden. Healing does. Fear always makes exceptions. Healing never does. Fear produces dissociation because it induces separation. Healing always produces harmony because it proceeds from integration. It is predictable because it can be counted on. Everything that is of God can be counted on because everything of God is wholly real. Healing can be counted on because it is inspired by her voice and is in accord with her laws. Yet, if healing is consistent, it cannot be inconsistently understood. Understanding means consistency because God means consistency. Since that is her meaning, it is also yours. Your meaning cannot be out of accord with hers because your whole meaning and your only meaning comes from her and is like hers. God cannot be out of accord with herself, and you cannot be out of accord with her. You cannot separate yourself from your Creator, who created you by sharing her being with you. The unhealed healer wants gratitude from her sisters, but she is not grateful to them. That is because she thinks she is giving something to them and is not receiving something equally desirable in return. Her teaching is limited because she is learning so little. Her healing lesson is limited by her own ingratitude, which is a lesson in sickness. True learning is consistent and so vital in its power for change that a child of God can recognize her power in one instant and change the world in the next. That is because by changing her mind, she has changed the most powerful device that was ever given her for change. This in no way contradicts the changelessness of mind as God created it. But you think that you have changed it as long as you learn through the ego. This places you in a position of needing to learn a lesson that seems contradictory. You must learn to change your mind about your mind. Only by this can you learn that it is changeless. When you heal, that is exactly what you are learning. You are recognizing the changeless mind in your sister by realizing that she could not have changed her mind. That is how you perceive the Holy Spirit in her. It is only the Holy Spirit in her that never changes her mind. She herself may think she can, or she would not perceive herself as sick. She therefore does not know what herself is. If you see only the changeless in her, you have not really changed her. By changing your mind about her for her, you help her undo the change her ego thinks it has made in her. As you can hear two voices, so you can see in two ways. One way shows you an image or an idol that you may worship out of fear, but will never love. The other shows you only truth, which you will love because you will understand it. Understanding is appreciation, because what you understand, you can identify with. And by making it part of you, you have accepted it with love. That is how God herself created you, in understanding, in appreciation, and in love. The ego is totally unable to understand this, because it does not understand what it makes, does not appreciate it, and does not love it. It incorporates to take away. It literally believes that every time it deprives someone of something, it has increased. I have spoken often of the increase of the realm by your creations, which can only be created as you were. The whole glory and perfect joy that is the realm lies in you to give. Do you not want to give it? You cannot forget the mother because I am with you, and I cannot forget her. To forget me is to forget yourself and her who created you. Our sisters are forgetful. That is why they need your remembrance of me and of her who created me. Through this remembrance, you can change their minds about themselves, as I can change yours. Your mind is so powerful a light that you can look into theirs and enlighten them, as I can enlighten yours. I want to share my mind with you because we are of one mind, and that mind is ours. See only this mind everywhere, because only this is everywhere and in everything. It is everything because it encompasses all things within itself. Blessed are you who perceive only this, because you perceive only what is true. Come therefore unto me, and learn of the truth in you. The mind we share is shared by all our sisters, and as we see them truly, they will be healed. Let your mind shine with mine upon their minds, and by our gratitude to them, make them aware of the light in them. This light will shine back upon you and on the whole childship, because this is your proper gift to God. She will accept it and give it to the childship because it is acceptable to her and therefore to her children. This is true communion with the Holy Spirit, who sees the altar of God in everyone, and by bringing it to your appreciation, she calls upon you to love God and her creation. You can appreciate the childship only as one. This is part of the law of creation and therefore governs all thought. Okay, lesson 53 is a review of lessons 11 through 15. Today we will review the following. 11. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. Since the thoughts of which I am aware do not mean anything, the world that pictures them can have no meaning. What is producing this world is insane, and so is what it produces. Reality is not insane, and I have real thoughts as well as insane ones. I can therefore see a real world if I look to my real thoughts as my guide for seeing. 12. I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Insane thoughts are upsetting. They produce a world in which there is no order anywhere. Only chaos rules a world that represents chaotic thinking, and chaos has no laws. I cannot live in peace in such a world. I am grateful that this world is not real and that I need not see it at all unless I choose to value it. And I do not choose to value what is totally insane and has no meaning. 13. A meaningless world engenders fear. The totally insane engenders fear because it is completely undependable and offers no grounds for trust. Nothing in madness is dependable. It holds out no safety and no hope. But such a world is not real. I have given it the illusion of reality and have suffered from my belief in it. Now I choose to withdraw this belief and place my trust in reality. In choosing this, I will escape all the effects of the world of fear because I am acknowledging that it does not exist. 14. God did not create a meaningless world. How can a meaningless world exist if God did not create it? She is the source of all meaning, and everything that is real is in her mind. It is in my mind too, because she created it with me. Why should I continue to suffer from the effects of my own insane thoughts, when the perfection of creation is my home? Let me remember the power of my decision and recognize where I really abide. 15. My thoughts are images that I have made. Whatever I see reflects my thoughts. It is my thoughts that tell me where I am and what I am. The fact that I see a world in which there is suffering and loss and death shows me that I am seeing only the representation of my insane thoughts, and am not allowing my real thoughts to cast their beneficent light on what I see. Yet, God's way is sure. The images I have made cannot prevail against her, because it is not my will that they do so. My will is hers, and I will place no other gods before her. Okay, that was day 53, so enjoy this day, happy practicing, until next time.